I want to show you how Anthropic's computer use function works because it's my new little toy and I think it's really cool and I'm still figuring out how to break it. Um, but it's definitely different from what we have at the moment. It's really easy to set up. So this is a kind of sandbox virtual environment with no passwords, no access to different accounts, so it's safe. Um, so I'll share the link to this. And you have to set up your API key in your terminal. That involves going to the Anthropic console, creating a developer account, adding some money to the account, and then setting up an API key. I've already done that step. I just didn't want to put the API key in the recording. And then once you've done that, provided that you have Docker installed, you run Docker and it will spin up a virtual environment that an AI can then control. And what it's doing here is it's just using regular tool use from the API, but it takes a snapshot of the screen, tries to understand what's going on the screen, and then tool use controls either the keyboard or the mouse to go and click on something or type something in. Um, and then gets a result, figures out what's going on, and cycles through that, which is incredible because you effectively now have a small virtual environment. Um, this is a virtual environment that has a browser and Google Docs and Microsoft and whatever else. Um, and you can ask it to do things for you in the same way that you would ask a human assistant to go and do something. So I think the hardest part is figuring out how to talk to this thing because it's such a new modality. But here, let me try and record a prompt. So I would like to create a little storybook for my nephews, and I have no experience with storybook tools, AI tools that let you create storybooks for kids. So I'd like you to do a little bit of research and give me the top 5 most promising products in the space, along with links to the websites to start using them, and a breakdown of the kind of approximate cost range for each tool. So I'm just using ChatGPT because I'm too lazy to type all of that out. So I'll get that. Goodbye, ChatGPT. And then just let's put that here. And what it does is it's like, okay, first let's take a screenshot of what's going on. It's like, okay, nothing's happening. So we probably need to start a browser. So then it starts a browser, which is incredible. And then it'll mouse click over to the search bar. It needs to figure out what to search for. um, yeah, I think this is really interesting because it's basically an API for like it's a skeleton API for any app, right? You don't need API access anymore. You can just go and use an app programmatically as if you were a person. And then I was like, but then how do you export the data? You could just open up Google Docs and like ask it to put everything in Google Sheets or ask it to create a document or like you can, however you want to consume the data, you can ask it to do that in the virtual environment. Um, okay, so while it's doing all of this, I will go over some of the kind of asterisks with using this that they covered, some of the limitations. So it's really, really slow, not super reliable. Uh, it like especially when using uh, what's the word spreadsheets. it can be unreliable on clicking the right cells, so it suggests telling it to use a keyboard instead. Same for scrolling. It won't let you pretend to be a person on social media and publish content. Draws the line there, but we may update this capability in the future. So just to keep things safe. Credit cards, usage, payments, private information, all very, very dangerous. So, don't give it access to that stuff. Don't give it access to your actual Google Doc or email. And then you can't do anything illegal with it. And then in terms of pricing, it's very reasonable. I mean, it's more expensive than doing this on a regular ChatGPT or Anthropic interface, but I played around with it yesterday, and once we go through this example, I'll show you the token count. So where are we? Okay, so it did a bunch of searching around, and it's like, hey, here's the different tools. Childbook AI, Story Genius, $30, $15 for Book Creator, Storybird. Perfect. Okay, so that, in terms of getting the results, was 100,000 tokens and cost 10 cents. I played around with this a bunch yesterday and only cost 60 cents. Almost hit 1 million tokens. Asked it to watch some videos, asked it to do some research, corrected the research. I haven't used it to use apps in a very specific way. So I still want to play around with it to do that. Like if I wanted it to operate CAD software, there would be a very specific sequence of buttons to click on and nuance there. And I don't know how to control that. So what I'm thinking is I will record a video as if I was showing a human how to do it, and then just paste the transcript in and see where it runs into issues and then figure it out from there. But this blew my mind because it's effectively a single API to interface with any application. And even if it's terrible and buggy at this stage, it's only going to get better. And it just cracks wide open the possibilities of what you can do with AI now. Yeah, blew my mind. I think it's really cool. Can't wait to play around with it some more.